In this video, you can see how, after my shift, which I worked against the enemy, 12 bus surrendered to the drone operator.
Powerful airstrikes by the Ukrainian Air Force continue to hammer Russian positions, especially key crossings and logistics hubs. Footage captured by the UTAC team shows precision-guided munitions destroying enemy fortifications, vehicles, and troop concentrations with devastating accuracy. These attacks are not random. They are part of a systematic campaign to disrupt Russian advances, deny safe supply routes, and paralyze artillery support. Ukrainian jets and drones operate across a wide area, from the front lines to critical rear zones, creating constant pressure. This strategy not only blunts Russian offensive efforts, but also buys time for Ukraine to regroup, maneuver, and potentially launch local counteroffensives when conditions allow. In Sumy region, 12 Russians surrendered after Ukrainian drones hit them with bomb drops.
Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes, glory to the nation, forward to victory. Thank you to everyone who supports us. In this video, you can see how, after my shift, which I worked against the enemy, 12 bus surrendered to the drone operator.
Warthog Defense reported that, following the liberation of Andriivka, Ukraine's defense forces have begun assault operations toward the village of Yunikivka in the Sumy region. Over the course of a week, Ukrainian units advanced between 200 and 700 meters, depending on the area. Ukrainian SBU cyber unit took out another R-330 Zytel electronic warfare system in Donetsk region. Destroying the R-330 Zytel electronic warfare system is crucial for Ukraine because it disrupts GPS signals, jams drone communications, and interferes with guided munitions. By eliminating it, Ukrainian forces regain the ability to operate drones, precision weapons, and secure battlefield coordination, giving them a major tactical advantage. The 93rd Separate Mechanized Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces has begun using a ground-based drone equipped with a launcher for unguided aircraft rockets. The brigade's ground drone unit operated the drone. It was developed on the initiative of the unit's commander, known by the call sign Electric. The project was launched with the removal of a UB-1657 launcher, originally designed for 16 S-5 unguided rockets, from a decommissioned aircraft that had served as a monument in the city of Berestyn for decades. According to the commander, the launcher had been on display for about 70 years. In addition to the launcher, the unit secured 150 rockets, which have since been used in strikes on Russian positions. Electric noted that the drone's deployment caused confusion among Russian forces, who responded with heavy fire, including artillery, targeting the area where the drone was operating. Although the concept was initially met with skepticism, the brigade now regularly uses the drone, and it has proven effective in combat. The use of ground-based unmanned systems is becoming increasingly common in Ukrainian units. For example, operators from the 20th K2 Separate Unmanned Systems Regiment recently used robotic platforms to evacuate 4 wounded Ukrainian soldiers over a span of 4 days. And we have the footage and more info about the strike on Russian fuel train that was reported by Warthog Defense. Soldiers of the Ronin unit from Ukraine's 65th Separate Mechanized Brigade used FPV drones to strike a Russian fuel train in the occupied Zaporizhia region. Ukrainian volunteer Serhiy Sternenko published the footage of the strike. The train was halted and hit on a section of track between the village of Levadne and the city of Molokhansk in the Tokmak district. The operation involved several units, including the Defense Intelligence's Kabul 9 unit, the 65th Brigade, the Security Services Alpha unit, and the State's Special Communications Services Next Group, in coordination with the Khortytsia Operational Strategic Grouping and the Zaporizhia Operational Tactical Grouping. Despite the target's distance of more than 35 kilometers from the front line, the FPV drones reached the train and struck it repeatedly. The attack triggered a large fire, with flames breaking out in multiple areas. According to activist Petro Andriushchenko, at least 11 fuel tanks caught fire. The fire likely damaged both the train and the railway infrastructure. Repairing the track and restoring traffic may take additional time. Striking Russian fuel and weapon supplies is a critical part of Ukraine's broader strategy to weaken the enemy's ability to sustain offensive operations. Fuel is the lifeblood of any military. Without it, tanks, trucks, and armored vehicles can't move, and aircraft can't fly. When Ukraine targets fuel depots deep behind enemy lines, it creates logistical bottlenecks that slow down troop movements and delay reinforcements. Similarly, hitting ammunition stockpiles and weapon convoys reduces Russia's firepower at the front. This not only depletes the enemy's resources, but also forces Russia to spread its defenses thin, protecting more rear targets. These strikes also have a psychological effect. Russian troops begin to feel isolated and vulnerable, knowing their resupply may never come. Every successful attack on these supply chains pushes Russian forces closer to paralysis and gives Ukraine more breathing room to stabilize the front and prepare counterattacks. It's a strategy of long-range pressure with real battlefield impact. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko met with U.S. Special Envoy Keith Kellogg. Belarusian state news agency Belta reported on Saturday. Lukashenko discussed with Kellogg the political situation in the world and the bilateral relations between Belarus and the United States, Belta reported. Earlier this week, sources in Washington told Reuters of Kellogg's plan to visit Belarus and meet Lukashenko. They said that while the exact agenda for the meeting was unclear, the envoy viewed it as a step that could help jumpstart peace talks aimed at ending Russia's war against Ukraine. In a video of the meeting released by Belta, Lukashenko warmly embraces Kellogg. Who doesn't know him? He is the most media-savvy person around these days, Lukashenko said. Kellogg is the highest-ranking U.S. official to visit the authoritarian state in years. Belarus has freed Serhiy Tsikhanouski, a key dissident figure and the husband of exiled opposition leader Sviatlana Tsikhanouskaya, and 13 others following a rare visit by a senior U.S. official, Tsikhanouskaya's team announced on Saturday. Tsikhanouski, a popular blogger and activist who was imprisoned in 2020, arrived in Vilnius, Lithuania, alongside 13 other political prisoners, his wife's team said. The release came just hours after Belarusian authorities announced that authoritarian President Alexander Lukashenko met with U.S. President Donald Trump's envoy for Ukraine in Minsk. Keith Kellogg became the highest-ranking U.S. official in years to visit Belarus, Moscow's close and dependent ally. A video published on Tsikhanouskaya's official Telegram account showed Tsikhanouski disembarking from a white minibus, smiling broadly despite his shaved head and emaciated frame. He pulled his wife into a long embrace as their supporters applauded. "My husband is free. It's difficult to describe the joy in my heart," Tsikhanouskaya told reporters. But she added her team's work is not finished, while over 1,100 political prisoners remain behind bars in Belarus. Tsikhanouski, known for his anti-Lukashenko slogan, "Stop the Cockroach," was jailed after announcing plans to challenge the strongman in the 2020 election. Following his arrest, his wife ran in his stead, rallying large crowds across the country. Official results of the election handed Lukashenko his sixth term in office, but were denounced by the opposition and the West as a sham. As of June 15th, Russia has over 1,950 missiles, including ballistic, cruise, and hypersonic Kinzhal types, and more than 6,000 Shahed 136 attack drones and decoys, according to Ukraine's military intelligence. Russia is currently producing up to 195 missiles per month and 170 drones per day. Ukrainian President Zelensky has announced that Ukraine has reached agreements with international partners, Germany and Canada, to fund large-scale production. According to the president, the G7 summit approved an increase in funding from $2 billion to $4 billion. This will accelerate the launch of mass production of advanced interceptors. In addition, Ukraine has already signed contracts for record quantities of artillery systems and various types of drones. Zelensky stressed that the war demands a simultaneous buildup of both artillery and drones.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comments section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.